further ado, guys, I want to move out the way and bring forth none other than one of my great mentors, the international trainer, none other than my big brother. You all know him, we all love him, and we are ready to hear the wisdom that he's going to share and impart and pour into our lives this morning. That's going to make us the better. Without further ado, my good friend, my mentor, Dr. Breakthrough. It's breakthrough time.
All right, all righty. Well, hey. Blessings to you. And again, great day to be alive. What a great day to uplift yourself. A great day to uplift others so that together we can uplift the world. Let me ask you a question. I talk about my book, How to Build a Big Team Fast. And one of the things I talk about is the power of influence. And Young Gun, I'm sure it's one of the things that, as we endeavor to make an impact in this world, you've got to consider the power of influence. I talk about, Charlie Brown, who has little or no influence, versus E.F. Hutton, who has tremendous influence. Now, the question is, if you consider yourself a Charlie Brown, when you're doing a survey between the 0 Charlie Brown, 0 influence, and E.F. Hutton, 10 influence, a lot of people will put themselves around the 4 or 5. And because of that, when they talk to others, they seek out those who are at a 4 or 5 or less, which means their team's not going to be very, very strong. And so if you're going to build a big team, if you're going to build a big team fast, if you're going to uplift a lot of people, the question then is simple. How do you increase your influence, right? I mean, how about this? How about even if you yourself, how would you like to have E.F. Hutton influence to where when things are ready to go and blow that you could call people and say, hey, listen, I've got something powerful. I've got something that I believe could help change the world. How would you like to have those people say, man, what is it? And you start talking and they're like, wow, I want in. Matter of fact, how would you like to call some folks saying, look, I got something powerful, something interesting, and how would you like for them to interrupt you and say, man, you know what? I don't know what it is, but Doc, if you're in, I'm in. Put me in. I'd like to call some folk and say, okay, if you're calling me, it's got to be something good. Here's my credit card. Now, those are some extreme illustrations, but it's what's happened many, 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 many times with me, and it's what can happen with you as well. So I'm just going to give you some key principles that can empower you to up your influence, some key principles that can take you from being a Charlie Brown to an E.F. Hutton, or if not, at least get real close. Some principles that can take you from being a 0 to a hero as far as your influence is concerned. And John Maxwell said it best, leadership is nothing more than influence. And so, my friend, let's talk about some things because, again, this powerful concept could change the world. But if you aren't empowered, if you don't have influence, you won't take part in it. So we don't just want you to be part of it. We want you to help spread the message, but not just spread the message, spread it effectively. The big difference between, people talking about they're busy versus being effective. Well, we want you to be effective and not just be chatter, talk, posting here, there. No. We want you to post and talk with influence and with results. So a couple things. Number one is simple, but just here it is, and that is read. Read. R-E-A-D, read. Charlie Tremendous Jones, one of my original mentors who's now gone on to heaven, wrote a book called Life is Tremendous. But Charlie Tremendous Jones, I'll never forget him. But he had a bookstore in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, and he made a statement famous. You'll be the same you are today 5 years from now, except for the books you read and the people you meet. I mean, you couldn't walk into his bookstore without him talking to you and sharing some powerful things with you. And what he would share with you would be so powerful, you just had to buy some books. Matter of fact, when you'd go into his bookstore, oftentimes he'd pull me in his back office and he'd start reading to me from a powerful book. and he'd stop and he'd say, isn't that good? And then he sometimes he kissed the book. He kissed the book. He said, you want to know why I kissed the book? I said, no. Now you got to understand, this guy, I mean, this is a guy who mentored when Zig Ziglar became a Christian. He's one of the guys that mentored Zig in the early days, in his Christian walk. This is a guy who'd been, again, all over the world, part of the $1 Million Round Table, just incredible. Matter of fact, one day I got to speak, listen now, Chick-fil-A, S. Truett Cathy, the billionaire who started Chick-fil-A. I got a call from Charlie saying, hey, I'd like to have you speak. I got a meeting. I got a big Christian billionaire speaking, and God's given me influence with him, and I want you two to speak together at this meeting I'm having. I was like, wow, are you kidding? S. Truett Cathy, the guy who started Chick-fil-A, you want me to speak with him at a meeting? Are you kidding? Of course, yes, right? But again, that's power, that's influence that Charlie had. And he said, now I'm not a billionaire. Charlie said, at the time, Charlie said, I was a multi-millionaire. He said, but here this billionaire is seeking my advice and flying into town, and he's going to speak at this meeting I'm having, and at the same time we'll get together, blah, blah, blah. So I thought about that. Wow, what power that this multi-billionaire was flying into town just to get counsel from a multi-millionaire. I tell you why. Because Charlie Tremendous Jones was a voracious reader. Read, here's my acronym. Receive, empowerment, authority, dominion. Read, receive, empowerment, authority, dominion. You see, leaders are readers. Now, not every reader is a leader, but every leader is a reader, and every effective, influential leader is a super reader. I mean, just read constantly. And so listen, you might consider yourself a Charlie Brown, and maybe you're only a 3 or 4 in the influence scale from 0 to 10. How'd you like to get closer to a 10, my friend? I'll tell you how, is to start to read. Now, and with my books, I made them simple. I put my books on CD so you can listen even while you're driving, right? And but again, my friend, but if you want to increase your influence, I'm telling you, one of the things you can do is to do that by reading. Another thing is by growing. So reading is great, but growing is another step. Now here's the thing: some folk just read and that's it. But leaders who increase if you're going to be an E.F. Hutton, if you're going to have more influence, if you're going to be able to open up your mouth and have people say, wow, if you're going to be able to open up your mouth and have people attracted, if you're going to be able to say, okay, I'm involved in this, if you want people to say, you know what, if you're involved, I'm involved, if you're in, I'm in, it's got to be good. And if you want to get to that place, my friend, it's not just about reading, but it's also about growing. And that is, I often say, note takers are money makers, but it's not so much the notes you take as it is the action you take on the notes you took. Oh, good God Almighty! Can I say that again? It's great to take notes, right? Note takers are money makers, but it's not just the notes that you take, but rather it's the action you take on the notes that you took, right? And that's called growth. See, when you implement, get this, it's one thing to read, but it's another thing to implement what you've read. It's what you've read. It's one thing that, and again, congratulations, those of you on the call, your leaders, right, consistently getting on these calls in the morning, and that's great. But to go a step further, to increase your influence, watch this now, to increase your influence, and again, you might be at a 5. Would you like to go to a 6, 7, 8, or 9? You might consider yourself on influence scale from 0 to 10. Maybe you might be a 5. Maybe you might be a 3. I don't know. But if you're at a 3, would you like to go to a 4 and then 5 and maybe 6 and 7? I'm telling you, my friend, reading is one thing, but then growth is another thing. Implementing what you read, implementing what you hear. By the way, one of my secrets, get this now, when I get on a webinar, one of my secrets when I get on a conference call, one of my secrets when I attend a seminar, one of my secrets is this, my friend, and that is this: to find just one main thing that sticks out at me that I can put into practice. Did you get that? I'm just looking for one little nugget. Now again, I take notes, I listen, but I'm looking for one. See, I'm looking for that one main thing. See, here's what happens. So many times you listen to a conference call and you're trying to get it all. And you go get on a webinar, you're trying to get it all. And you go to a seminar, you're trying to learn it all. No, that's okay, but that's not going to cut the mustard. I'm talking about if you want to climb the influence scale, and if you want to be more of an E.F. Hutton, my friend, I want to tell you this, my friend, you're going to have to learn, again, the simple principle I learned years ago. Just pull out one key thing, the thing that hits you the most, the thing that speaks to you the most. Take that one thing, my friend, and act on it. Implement it immediately. Why? That'll create momentum. That'll create growth. I was talking to somebody the other day, Minister Willie Tubbs, who, again, congratulations on finishing his new book. But we were talking. I said, hey, if you think you know me, he said, Doc, well, let me back up. He said, hey, Doc, he said, man, I can't tell you how my life has been so transformed since we first met and you started mentoring me and I started, taking your different classes and getting your books and all that. He said, I can't even tell you. He said, man, he's like, I've grown so much. And I said, well, can I tell you a secret? He said, what's that? I said, well, since you and I have met, I've grown so much. I said, as a matter of fact, my growth game is so strong. I said, Willie, if I meet somebody I hadn't met in a while, I said, listen, if you think you know me based on my past, you better get reacquainted because my growth game is so strong. Matter of fact, I'm constantly having a life change and increase that we might need to be reintroduced. Matter of fact, sometimes my life's changing so much I don't even recognize my own self. But I'm saying, but you got to get in the growth mode, my friend. I said it yesterday. When you learn to grow through what you're going through, that's when you get your breakthrough. I said when you learn to grow through, stop griping and groaning and complaining, but learn to grow through what you're going through. That's when you get your breakthrough. And people of influence, if you're going to be an E.F. Hutton, you've got to not just read, but you've got to grow. And listen, my friend, you've got to grow. And if you're going to grow, the easiest thing to do is to pick out one simple point. Pick out the thing that speaks to you the most, the thing that really hits you. Take that one thing and put it into practice, my friend. And I'm telling you, you're going to increase your influence. You're going to grow. And as you grow, your influence grows. And that leads to the next thing, accomplishments. And these aren't in any certain order, by the way, accomplishments. So if you're going to, again, we're talking about how to increase your influence. Again, you're going to be dealing with some folks, by the way, who are Charlie Browns. How do you help them to become an E.F. Hutton? And again, if you're a Charlie Brown, how do you become an E.F. Hutton? You take these principles I'm teaching, implement them, and then, my friend, teach them to your success line. And so, again, my friend, accomplishments. See, the more that you read, watch this now, and then the more that you apply, get this now, and implement what you read, then the more you grow, and the more you grow, the more accomplishments you can do. Now watch this. Each accomplishment, my friend, regardless of how small, each accomplishment is creating some momentum in your life. Each accomplishment, my friend, watch this now, is going to also start increasing your influence. You see, people who have influence, see the E.F. Huttons, no doubt about it, they're readers. The E.F. Huttons, no doubt about it, they've got a strong growth game. The E.F. Huttons, no doubt about it, they have many accomplishments underneath their belt. And so, my friend, if you want to increase your influence, right, then what you've got to do is you've got to learn, my friend, to read, to implement so you can grow and grow so you can accomplish more, because the more you accomplish, the more influence you will have. And the more you open up your mouth, once you've done some things, the more people will listen. Somebody said your walk talks and your talk talks, but your walk talks louder than your talk talks. And your walk talks so loud, I can't hear a word you say. I just got to say that again. I just want to hear myself say that. I said your walk talks and your talk talks, but your walk talks louder than your talk talks. And your walk talks so loud, people can't hear a word you say. So listen, my friend, in home-based business, that's why, again, I keep saying I'm not a network marketer, never have been. I'm a networker who leverages marketing. See, network marketers are just great at chatter, talk, and almost get like on the Charlie Brown and wah. But you know what, my friend? If you stop talking so much and start accomplishing some things, then what you accomplish will speak so loud that when your mouth says something, your accomplishments will say amen to it. That's good right there. See, when you think about in the Bible, it says in the beginning was the Word, right? The Word was with God, the Word was. But then going down, and I think verse 14, it says, and the Word became flesh. See, here's the difference between the Charlie Browns and the E.F. Huttons. Charlie Browns have words, but the E.F. Huttons have the flesh from the Word. Watch this now. The Word became flesh. In other words, what was said is now being done, right? And so the Charlie Browns may just be the ones that just have the talk, right? And those are at the 2s and 3s and 4s. But no. If you're going to get up to be the 7, the 8, the 9, the 10, the E.F. Huttons, my friend, you've got to learn, get this now, to accomplish some things. And so, again, I'm telling you, my friend, the accomplishments, each accomplishment is going to increase your influence. And that's why, my friend, you've got to be on the move, but not just busy work, but get this now, accomplishing things, not just busy work is getting things done, your accomplishments. And so, my friend, that's why even during this time, my friend, you may not be able to uplift right now, but guess what? You could be building your life. You still could be making different accomplishments so that as soon as the door is open, my friend, if you've accomplished some different things, you'll have more influence so that now when the doors are wide open, you'll be able to reach more people faster, my friend. And by the way, I'm telling you, when you learn to go through accomplishments to get your word to become flesh, in other words, what you say, get this now, is evident in your life. I'm telling you, my friend, you will go up the influence scale. So I don't know where you are, my friend, but I know one thing. You can go higher. You can go higher through reading. You can go higher through growing. I don't know where you are on the influence scale, but you can go higher. Get this now by, again, grabbing one main thing and putting it into practice. I don't know where you are, but you can go higher by accomplishments. And the more you accomplish, the more you go up the influence scale. You see, my friend, when I built the team, my wife and I, the 13,389 people in 3.5 months, I upped my influence. When I built a team of 22,000 people, watch this now, in 5.5 months, and with that company we were earning 6 figures a month, guess what happened? I upped my influence. Are you with me? I'm saying, listen, when I got voted into the Black Belt Hall of Fame, I upped my influence. When I became a 10th degree black belt, I upped my influence, right? Less than 100 10th degree black belts in the whole world. Or when I got voted into the Motivational Speakers Hall of Fame through GetMotivation.com, I upped my influence, right? When I wrote my first book, I upped my influence. When I got invited to be part of a book anthology with some powerful people like Les Brown and Zig Ziglar and Laurel Lagermeyer and all these, I upped my influence. I'm saying, my friend, each accomplishment is upping your influence, and it doesn't have to always be the super huge accomplishments, but it's accomplishments, my friend, that'll up your influence. Next thing, and that is if you want to up your influence, if you're tired of being a Charlie Brown and you'd like to get more like an E.F. Hutton, then you're going to have to learn also to spend time with the greats. Spend time with the greats. You've heard it, your associations, right? The people you spend time with. Again, Charlie Tremendous Jones said it best, you'll be the same you are today 5 years from now, except for the books you read. We talked about reading. And number 2, the people you meet or associate with. And that is, again, that's why this call is so great. And by the way, some days you need to call. Other days, the call needs you. Other days, people need to hear you announcing who you are. Some days, the call will be specifically for you. Some days, the call will be, like I said yesterday, a time-release teaching where maybe it won't apply to your life right now, but you can tuck it away because it will apply to your life next month or next week or next year. Or it will be something that you can help apply with someone who's going through something and you have the answer. So again, spending time with the greats or associating with powerful people. I talked about in my book, How to Build a Big Team Fast. I made a decision as a young guy. I'd rather be, get this now, I'd rather be the worst of the best than to be the best of the worst. Could I say that again? I made a decision as a young person. I'd rather be the worst of the best, talking about my associations now, than to be the best of the worst. In other words, some people, here's what they do. They only associate, they only spend time with people that they are smarter than. They only spend time with people that they know they make more money than. They only spend time with people that they know they have more influence. Why? That way they can feel good. That way they can feel like the head honcho. That way they can feel super, super comfortable. And by the way, here's one reason why many people can't build a big team is because if you're not growing, if you're not, listen, my friend, if you're not going up the influence scale, if you're just a Charlie Brown or you're just a 1 or 2 or 3, you'll never build a big team there. If you're just a 4 or 5, you're never going to build a big team there. You're just right about average. No, listen, my friend, if you're going to build a big team, you've got to up your influence. You've got to get up to be a 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. And the more you go up that influence scale, my friend, the easier it's going to be to build a big team, the more influence you're going to have with people. And the more when you open up your mouth, people are going to listen. Instead of people running from you, you'll have people running to you. That's good right there. I said instead of having folks run from you, you're going to have folks running to you. You're going to have folks wanting. And so it starts, though, because the average person, again, they only want to be in their comfort zone. And I say it all the time, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. And successful people literally learn how to become they learn to get, how would you say, comfortable with being put in an uncomfortable situation. Why? Because it's when you're put in an uncomfortable situation that the greatness that was in you that you didn't maybe recognize or you didn't know was there starts to come out, right? And so yes, they may have the butterflies, and yes, they may have they'll fear the fear and do it anyway, but they have learned through experience, they've learned that when you get in that uncomfortable place, that's where growth can occur. When you get in that uncomfortable place, my friend, that's where that secret greatness starts seeping out of you. And again, my friend, I'm telling you, it's scary to everybody, but the greats respond differently than everybody else. They embrace it, my friend. And so watch this. And so you've got to learn, instead of always being around people, you've got to learn to start associating with those who make more money than you. Again, I'd rather be the worst of the best. You got to start spending more time with people who are smarter than you. I decided to be the worst of the best instead of the best of the worst. You got to start spending time with those who have a lot more wisdom than you have. I decided to be the worst of the best instead of the best of the worst, and something strange started happening. That's why when I started in the martial arts, I said, who's the best guy in the class? And they said, well, it's that guy over there. And I said, well, that's good. That's who I'm going to work out with. They're like, you might not want to do that. They said, that guy, he about to kill you, man. They wasn't lying. But you know what, my friend? But because I was working out with this guy, he was the best. Now, at the time, I was the worst one probably in the whole class, but he was the best. But guess what, my friend? I worked out with him, and they wouldn't lie, man. He beat me. I like what old Bone Crusher Smith said about the first time he fought Tim Witherspoon. He said Tim beat him from pillar to post. I don't know what that means. It's just nice sounding country term, but he said he beat him from pillar to post, right? And of course, those you know that story know he got a chance a year later to fight Tim Witherspoon, and only had 7-day notice. And Bone Crusher said, okay, and long and behold, he knocked him down 3 times. Bone Crusher knocked down Tim Witherspoon 3 times in the first round, which means he won by technical knockout and won the heavyweight championship of the world in a very uncomfortable situation. And do you think that upped his influence? Well, you better believe it did, right? And listen, I'm telling you, my friend, so it will be with you. And so spending time with the greats. I kept working out with that guy who was, again, I was the worst of the best, but I knew I wasn't going to be the worst of the best for long. After a while, I became average of the best, and then eventually I became one of the best of the best. and so can be with you. Do you want to up your influence, my friend? You've got to read. You want to up your influence? You've got to grow. You've got to implement what you learned. You want to up your influence? You've got to accomplish some things. You want to up your influence? You've got to spend time with the greats, associate with those maybe who make you feel, get this now, who make you feel a little insecure because of their strength, and they don't mean to. It's just their strength, right? But you just hang in there. You just be uncomfortable, my friend, and you just keep learning and picking up some things. And I'm telling you, my friend, how do you want up your influence scale? You've got to learn to overcome some obstacles. Overcome obstacles. I mean, accomplishing things are one thing, but overcoming obstacles. I like what Booker T. Washington said. He said it's not so much what you accomplish that makes you successful, but rather it's the obstacles you had to overcome to get there. So in other words, my friend, you can have two people that do the same exact thing, but the person who had to overcome more obstacles is a person that has more success and likely then will have more influence. Why? Because you've overcome obstacles, and the fact that you overcame those obstacles mean you can now inspire. Watch this now. See, by your very being, you can inspire people when you overcome obstacles, when you learn to break through. And all righty. And then, my friend, real quick, and then how do you up your influence? It's simple. It's by positioning and timing. You remember my book, my wife and I wrote a book, Position to Prosper. Positioning is almost everything. Timing is everything else. And so when you position yourself, watch this now, at the right place, at the right time, with the right frame of mind, and then the timing hits, watch and see what happens. See, that's what Jeff Bezos, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, but anyway, that's what he did with Amazon, and now he surpassed Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, and now he is the richest man in the world, and up to his influence. Well, my time is gone, and so anyway, I pray you'll take these simple, practical things, and my friend, take not just notes, but take action so you can up your influence, so that when you up your influence, you can build a bigger team, bigger, better, faster than ever before. God bless you.